Greetings, gamers! Welcome to part number 34 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War, and in today's episode it is time to visit this village. It's been a while since Granville beat Isaac in the war, but they're struggling to put down resistance out here in the furthest corners. But the people of Isaac ain't giving up hope. Prince Shannon's still out there, and they know someday he'll head back and lead them freedom. Alright, so I need to check to see if anybody else is paired. Okay, so it doesn't look like anybody else is paired as of yet. I have 3 pairings that have to be finished before the end of this chapter. I will say that if somehow, some way, because like I said before, pairings only go up until, I believe, either turn 48 or 50, it's somewhere around there. If I'm still not paired around that time, and then I get to that point, and they're still not paired, I might have to redo Chapter 4. If that happens, I'm not going to be a happy camper. I'll just put it that way. I'm going to leave the recordings as it is, and just, resume where you'd see, so it wouldn't affect anybody watching. But it would just not make me very happy. Other than that, I'm pretty well off. And I can seize, but after... I actually don't think I moved Dew and Bridget last turn, which is not great. But, whatever. And Ideen, Sigurd, all of them. I think... Yeah, Ideen needs to just stay out there for now. Sigurd can just seize. I think that's perfectly fine.
That was quite the fierce bout, sire.
And to think none of them were Granvale's elite. Listen, Oifi, I need to ask something of you.
Of course, sire. What is it?
As I recall, the territory of Isaac should be very close to the northeast of Lubeck. From what I've heard, ever since Granvale won the war, Isaac has been governed by Danon, Langbalt's eldest son. But I'd wager his influence has yet to reach much of the country's span, so...
I beg your pardon, sire. Are you seriously asking me to abandon you for safety, now at all times? No, I refuse. I will not leave you, sire. I'm here for you no matter what, till I draw my last breath.
Oifi, listen. I know this is a huge imposition, but please, just hear me out. I don't want to lose Seliph. He isn't even 2 years old yet. I can hardly fight with an infant in tow. Please, Oifi, take care of Seliph. Take him and find refuge from this blasted war. I know I can trust you, Oifi. You are my only hope.
Sire, very well. I'll take Lord Seliph. I'll protect him, no matter what happens. That said, you have to promise me. Promise me that you'll come for us as soon as this war is over. I won't leave you if you can't promise that.
Of course. I swear I'll come for the 2 of you.
Thank you. Hold it! I promised Deidre that I'll look after Seliph no matter what. I won't hand him over to anyone, not even Oifi, until Deidre says I can.
Calm down, Shannon. I know you're still hurt about losing Deidre, but this isn't helping. It's okay. He'll be fine with Oifi.
No, I need to protect Seliph, and you're forgetting that the people of Isaac won't exactly be happy to see more Granvalians. Oifi alone won't last a minute there, but if I'm there, it'll be okay. Who better to protect Seliph and Isaac than the Prince of Isaac? Please, I promised her. Now that he mentions it, sire, I would be a tad more at ease if Shannon was there as well. I know you're reluctant to involve one as young as Shannon in something so dangerous, but I think we can agree he's become a talented warrior. Not to mention, I'll need Shannon to secure the people's support.
I'm sorry to burden you more, Shannon, but please, take care of Seliph for me.
Okay, leave it to me. I'm gonna keep getting stronger, and nobody'll ever get hurt Seliph. I'll teach him all about Deidre, but I wonder how he'll take what happened. I suppose we should get going then. Farewell, sire. Take care of yourself. I pray victory and clemency find you as soon as possible.
Thank you, Oifi. Be careful out there.
Yes, sir.
Seliph, I'm so sorry. Please grow up safe and strong. It appears that Sigurd knows something that the rest of us don't know. So, in this particular chapter, all throughout the chapter, you're going to see a bunch of talk conversations. None of these, absolutely none of these, yield anything other than story. And most of them are very somber. In fact, to an extreme point, very somber. And it's kind of a bit saddening because Tiltu and Lewin they're paired. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. So I just need Dew and Bridget and Claude and Sylvia. But yeah, some of them are so somber, in fact, like I kind of avoid reading them. And that might sound silly, especially because, like, you know, it's just a game. But the story in this game, in my humble opinion, is very gripping. And it is something that really I take to heart. I really consider it and I think about it. So I'm going to move here. Wait with Claude. Now that Tiltu and Lewin are paired, and I'm just making sure this is the case, I can actually just return her. She doesn't need to be here with my group any longer. In fact, she would be an incredible detriment if she was with my group. I halfway want to leave Lewin on Castle Lubeck, or at least near it. So the problem with that is with Lewin, I kind of want him to deal with certain units that are going to be stationed here very soon. They're going to fly up towards Lubeck. But if I leave him at Lubeck Castle, those units are going to follow my units instead, which I really do not want happening. And if I'm thinking it's probably for the best if I warp someone here. So Ideen would be a perfect candidate for this. I think maybe warping Lex to the castle. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then Lex can guard the castle so that the castle is not under threat of incursion. Basically, Zaxxon Castle is of no worry or concern anymore, let alone the fact that Bridget and Alec will still be here. And Bridget can pretty well, if she was sitting and guarding the gate, even if everybody was attacking her with one range, she's not going to die with the U-Fel. She's just not. But I think that's going to be the end of my turn. And who is this troop of green units? Gentlemen, we've not much further to go. Keep giving it your best. Rumor has it that Sigurd's army should be moving south through the desert. If we keep this pace north, we should be able to rendezvous with them sooner or later.
Quan, I'm so sorry I dragged you into this. You and your father were too generous, sparing so many soldiers to help my brother, even though your father is presently so ill. But are you sure you're both willing to risk crossing a nation as all-powerful as Granvale? The very thought of it is terrifying.
Ethlin, you know as well as I that Leonster, a nation built on the legacy of the Crusader Nova, is far stronger than its size suggests. No matter what happens, I could never regret giving my all for a cause as just as Sigurd's. My father feels precisely the same way. There's nothing to worry about, Ethlin. After all, I'm wielding none other than J-Bolg. I'll never fail with it at my side. Sigurd could certainly stand to leave, or to have my aid.
I suppose you're right. He'd appreciate any help at this point.
Ethlin, we'll be entering hostile territory very shortly. The enemy could ambush us at any moment, so
Actually, Quan, I've been thinking this over quite a bit, and I'm coming with you after all. I'd like to see my brother again, and I simply can't abandon you now.
I can't allow that. I let you come with me solely because you promised to return home part way. To say nothing of Altena's presence, look at her, a mere babe of 3 years, curled up a-slumber in her mother's lap. Should we be attacked, what then?
Why, I'd fight my hardest to protect her. Nobody could possibly seize her from me. I certainly never intended at first to take her with us. But she simply wouldn't stop crying when I tried to leave her behind. You're right, though. You're right. I'll take her home.
Evelyn, I'm sorry. I assure you, I do know precisely how you feel, but Leaf is barely born and waiting for you at home. Our children need their mother. Please, Evelyn, return home. I left Finn to defend the capital. You'll be safe with him.
Very well, but I'd just like a little more time. I want to stay by your side a little longer. Please, Quan?
Evelyn? Very well. We've a little more time to spare. Quan and Evelyn are coming to reinforce me. But what is this? Another affiliation. Quan, the poor sod still has no clue we're tailing him, and there's a woman with him. What a clumsy mistake. Why, I dare say this is the long-awaited end of Leonster's famous Lanzenritter. Those hooves will be sinking clean into the sand. They can't so much as flail at us. Men, close in. This is it. Thracia's destiny lies before us, ripe for the grasping. What? Thracian Draco Knights? No, you cannot be serious. Travant has been at our heels all along. Ithlin, run. We've no hope of victory in this blasted desert.
But what will you do?
They're like wild hyenas, Evelyn. Children are little more than easy targets for them. Thracia has sought to reconquer our territory for centuries. I thought my absence would be taken as an invitation, so I left Finn behind with half the army in case they made the obvious move. Not once, not even once did I ever suspect they would pursue us instead. This was all a mistake.
You can't give up now, Quan. It'll be okay. We're together, aren't we? At the very least, together we'll not go down easily.
Evelyn, forgive me, please. Yeah, this is kind of a little bit of a somber reunion and reinforcement as well. In fact, it's quite somber, quite sad, quite low, if I would say. And the reason being is because every last one of these Draco Knights has a very interesting weapon on his behalf. Veltomer Castle. I see. Duke Lanbolt fell in battle.
Arvis, what are we supposed to do now? It was you who insisted that even if we left the bulk of our armies on conquest with our sons, Sigurd would pose no threat to me at all. The situation before us is not the outcome you promised me.
Reptor, your overaction is baseless. The deck is still stacked in our favor. The Veltomer army is already lying in wait for the rebels in the desert's depths. Furthermore, Thracian sellswords should be arriving to reinforce us at any moment. The enemy will assuredly be exhausted. So long as my army and yours cooperate, Sigurd and his rebels ought to fall with ease.
I'm holding you to your word this time, Arvis. Remember, I've no objection to you alone claiming the throne once Asmir finally dies. But don't you dare forget your allies.
Of course. Must I remind you? The instant the dust of this war settles, House Frege will be granted the Augustrian throne to govern. House Dozel, meanwhile, will be entrusted with the rule of Isaac. Rest assured, Reptor, I will honor your rights to these territories.
Very well. Then I, too, will fight with all I have. Greetings, Lord Arvis. The plan proceeds precisely on time, I see.
Manfroy, I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, you must not show your face here. Until the Granvale throne is mine, I cannot allow you or your brethren to appear in public. Do you not understand?
Oh, we understand. We understand how you indulge the greed of men as vile as Rapture and Langbolt. We understand how even then you still will not concede the very fact of our existence. The plan was to use those two buffoons until they could be used no further, then cast them aside and use their sons in their stead, was it not?
But hear me well, Manfroy. I refuse to have any part in the revival of your Lapter Empire. I've no desire to oppress your cult, but I've even less of a desire to consign the world to your Dark Lord's rule. Remember this well. Yes, the blood of Lapter's scion flows in my veins, but there is so much more to me than that. My Laptrian heritage is that of Saint Myra, a man who fought for the rights of the people. And more importantly, I am the one true heir of the Crusader Vala, Lapter's sworn enemy. This is kind of a very interesting take. I don't know the backstory enough of this game, or at least remember the backstory enough of this game to say that I understand this. I thought Naga was Lapter's one true enemy. In truth, if you were to have Arvis fight, like in the second generation particularly, because in the second generation, Arvis is leagues and bounds stronger than you saw him in the very first chapter, the prologue. If you were to have him at his best fight against the scion of Lapter in the second generation, Arvis would stand actually no chance. So I don't really understand this particular statement here. I will change this world for the better. Under my rule, mankind shall be free from the pain of prejudice, tyranny, and oppression. What a pity it is that Sigurd must die, but alas, all things require sacrifice.
A sacrifice for the sake of the Lady Deetra, you mean? You are terrified, Lord Arvis. You fear her memory may someday return.
Don't you dare bring her into this. Need I remind you, we are in love. Nothing will ever come between us.
I suppose you two need to hasten and make proof of this love of yours. Proof that will one day grow up and rise to be a most magnificent king.
Finora?
The rebels are finally headed this way. Ha! Excellent. Let them walk right into the range of my welcoming gift. Meteor spells. This desert will gladly claim their bodies.
Veltomer phase. And that is the last phase that moves on right now, if I'm not mistaken. So, interestingly enough, Aaron is the only unit in my particular party that can reach or do anything particular about... Oh, Claude, there finally. Okay, so it's just Dew and Bridget now. I don't need to be moving. Yeah, Dew and Bridget. The thing is, I actually cannot warp him over there. Yeah, so Aaron is the only one who can reach any of these meteor mages, because she's the only flyer you have. This is utility that is all her own, and I personally think it's extremely valuable per this chapter. In most cases, I would not ever say that flyer utility is really worth anything, but in this particular instance, I would say that it's very useful and important. I'm going to go ahead and heal you up. So Lewin's task here will be to deal with the Thracian Draco Knights, and that's going to be kind of an interesting task, if you will. So Travant has the Gungnir, which is a 70 hit, 30 might, 15 weight, exalted weapon. Doesn't give any skills in this particular game, but gives 10 strength, 10 speed, 10 defense. This is a far and away better weapon than the J-Bolg. So the J-Bolg is the exact same statistics, except it gives 10 skill instead of 10 speed. And I personally find this to be kind of a little bit ridiculous. but there's really nothing that can be done or said about that. So Ethlyn comes with her iron sword and a mend. Quan has his J-bowl. Rest of the Lanzenritter have steel lances. But then you have Magorn, Dragon Master, who has a brave lance and a shield ring. And the rest of the Thracia knights all have a particular, very important weapon here. Yeah, you're seeing that right, Horse Slayers. These guys are actually not a threat at all to Quan. Quan just does not care about any of these guys, except for Travant. But Travant will be leaving here very shortly. The interesting thing about Quan versus these units is that something happens in the story which renders Quan unable to fight these guys. And it is just a very bittersweet thing. Sweet because I love the story of this game. Bitter because it's just not a great outcome. You do have to be careful of this range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, she's fine here. The reason why is because Vaha has a meteor, and actually these two have sleeps. So these two are incredibly dangerous, but this is the reason why Sigurd's Tearfing is so good. I'm going to be moving Sigurd in such a way that he is capable of... I'm going to leave Claude here, actually. In fact, I don't think so. I'm going to return him. He is an incredible detriment to this party at this time. Azel can go right here. Sylvia will move with me. The problem with Sylvia is that even though she has 10 resistance, she's still going to take a reasonable amount of damage, 20 damage from these, so you don't want her in the range of more than one Meteor Mage, particularly. Yeah, but the story of this particular chapter is not only somber, it's very, very saddening in many different ways. And I enjoy that. I think that's a good thing, but I also I find it kind of just a little bit of a shame, the things that do happen and go on. Alright. Till 2 Claude are sitting back at home. Don't need them anymore. The Fortify would be nice to bring along. It's not that big a deal. In fact, I don't think it's even remotely necessary for the rest of this chapter. And the Lanzenritter are going to keep moving up, trying to come in and reinforce Sigurd and his army. I think in just a turn or two. Okay, some of them are going to attack now. I have actually seen this group of Draco Knights be all but decimated by missing the Thracians, or missing the Leonster Knights, and then getting hit constantly. And then, like, it seemingly, like, it could have still been okay. But for the most part, it's really just not. Alright, so I believe one more can attack another unit here. Maybe 2, I'm not sure. But as you can see, they're definitely not missing, and this is not going well for the Lanzenritter. The Fenora phase is finished. Valtomer is going to strike with some meteors. I'm in range of 1 particularly. Oh, going after Medir. Interesting target. Interesting. And do Bridget need to move. Still not paired. I think they are the only two that I have left that need to be paired. Yeah, just doing Bridget. Okay, so being mindful of this particular range, one step in front of Aaron. I want to make sure everybody is able to move as far as possible. Erin is actually not at all going to be joining me for the capture of Fenora because she has much more important things to do. Do have to be mindful of the sleep range. So she can attack here and then move down one. Oh, down two. That's perfectly fine. Eltomer, Elfire. And then Sigurd has absolutely nothing to worry about when he has his Tearfing equipped. And the rest of these particular units can get over here and wait while Lewin continues to move down. So the Vorsetti is incredibly powerful here. He has a 101 avoid. These units have 0 hit. They will not attack him. So what you have to kind of do with Lewin is bait some of them in with the Elwind and hope that they don't hit him. KO a few, and then equip Vorsetti if you need healing, because he'll heal with the Renewal Band. That's pretty much my strategy for dealing with them. Because, unfortunately, Quan and friends are not going to be able to deal with them. Steel Lances, I'm not entirely sure I really understand why the Lanzenritter appear here with nothing but Steel Lances. It's kind of weird, in my humble opinion. Some more story should be occurring relatively soon. I think more of the Lanzenritter have to be defeated or something of that nature. They're surrounding Ethlin to defend her, and I've noticed this. The Leonster Knights will surround Ethlin and Quan to defend them. Not necessarily that I want to just talk about Thracia whenever I play a Fire Emblem game, but Genealogy is related to Thracia. What's interesting is that the end of Thracia, near the end of Thracia, there's a moment where you can revive a stoned unit, which is Avel. And there is a lot of theory and rumor, as well as code, to suggest that there were supposed to be more people in that room. And it's one of the reasons why the Kia staff has 5 uses in Thracia. I cannot wait until the end of this chapter to discuss my personal theories on who those other people would have been. Now, there are a lot of people who would agree with this, and it is pretty much a commonplace theory. But because of my many gameplay runs through these particular games, I would say that it is more likely than not that it is actually a possibility, or would have been a possibility, but just scrapped.
Hold tight, Eltenna. I'll protect you no matter what.
Oh, Ethlin got a lover crit from the appearance of it. So having a promoted Ethlin next to Quan right here is pretty much the only way that she will survive a decent amount of hits here. But as you can see, Magorn just said no to that. Away, Thracian beasts! So long as I hold Jaybog, only one of us will live this day. And Travant is attacking Quan. Oh, Ethelyn, forgive me. Finn, I entrust Leaf to you. That's wild. I can't recall the last time I've seen Quan being taken out by Travant.
Take this. Feel the fiery wrath of the heavens.
I honestly think that even if she hit Sigurd, which is unlikely because of his speed buff, it would be negligible damage. Actually negligible damage. And I'm going to continue moving down with you. Lewin needs to. I do have to be careful, though, because they could decide to go after Aaron. That's not at all what I want to happen here. But this very next turn, I'm going to be able to take out Fenora Castle. Still not paired. The only thing I could do is move Ideen with them. Hope that they pair over the next couple of turns. But it looks like that might be a little bit of a stretch. Unfortunately, this is about the time that I must bid my farewells. And thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform. Leave a comment down below, and while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.